Attention passionate Baltimore Ravens fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Baltimore Ravens' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Baltimore Ravens fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Baltimore, RAVENS fans. Let's get to the news. If there's one thing Ravens fans love, it's big moves, game-changing plays, and those moments that make you feel like your team is on the verge of something special. And right now, whispers are swirling about what could be one of the most explosive trades in recent NFL history. A move that could reshape the AFC North and vault Baltimore into a new echelon of championship contenders. The buzz is centered around Amon-Ra St. Brown, the dynamic slot receiver from the Detroit Lions, and the possibility that he might be heading to Baltimore before the trade deadline. Now, for those of you who follow the Ravens closely, you know that the offense has been a bit of a roller coaster this season. Lamar Jackson has been putting up solid numbers with 800 passing yards and a rushing game that's been just as dangerous. But the passing attack has been missing that certain spark, that game-breaking element that makes defenses respect the entire field. Adding a receiver like St. Brown could be exactly what Lamar needs to elevate the offense into a whole new level, especially considering how well he's been performing this year with the Lions. Remember, we're talking about a guy who's been targeted heavily, with 95 receptions for 150 yards and 7 touchdowns in just 13 games, showing consistency and reliability that Ravens fans crave. St. Brown's numbers this season are nothing short of impressive. His PFF grade sits at an elite 91.0, and his EPA per target is 0.34, indicating he's making the most of his opportunities. His yards after catch average of 6.5 yards, combined with his ability to force missed tackles, 16 so far in 2025, makes him a true yard after catch threat. That's exactly the type of weapon that can turn short passes into explosive gains, especially in a system that's been relying heavily on Lamar's mobility and playmaking. The Ravens already have a solid running game with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, but adding a receiver like St. Brown would make them nearly impossible to defend, especially with Lamar's ability to extend plays and find open targets. Now here's where things get really interesting. The Detroit Lions, currently sitting at 9-4 with a capable but somewhat strained cap situation, are rumored to be considering a reset of sorts. Their cap situation is tight with about $18 million in space, and they're looking to extend players like Hutchinson and others while managing their roster's future. St. Brown's contract is hefty, around $28 million, but a trade could free up around $23 million in cap space, giving Detroit more flexibility to rebuild the defense and continue their playoff push. The Lions' defense has been pretty middle of the pack, allowing around 24 points per game, and they're likely looking to bolster that unit while balancing their offensive core. But the Ravens, they're sitting at 7-7, and while that record might not look as flashy as some of the top teams, they're still very much in the playoff hunt. Their offense has been solid but inconsistent, averaging about 230 passing yards per game after losing Wiggins to injury in December, which has left some gaps in their aerial attack. Adding St. Brown could be the perfect remedy. Imagine the synergy: Lamar delivering precise passes, St. Brown making those big YAC plays, forcing defenses to pick their poison. Plus, this move could help Baltimore reset their offensive identity, turning them into a true aerial threat, similar to what the Rams did with Cooper Kupp back in 2021. St. Brown's ability to operate out of the slot, combined with Lamar's threat as a runner and passer, could create matchup nightmares for any defense. The ripple effects could be enormous. For one, this trade could boost Baltimore's chances of making a deep playoff run, perhaps even contending for Super Bowl LXI. The odds for the Ravens to win it all are already decent, but with a player like St. Brown in the mix, those odds could shorten significantly. Imagine the Ravens facing a Chiefs team that's still dangerous, but now having to account for a prolific receiver who can take over games in the clutch. The connection between Lamar and St. Brown could become one of the league's most lethal combinations, reminiscent of the Montana Rice days, but modernized for today's NFL. And let's not forget the AFC North. The division has been a fierce battleground this season, with teams like the Bengals and Steelers competing fiercely. A trade for St. Brown could tilt the scales in Baltimore's favor, making them even more potent in the air and forcing divisional rivals to double down on their game plans. It could be the type of move that not only elevates the Ravens, but also signals a shift in the AFC landscape, putting them in a stronger position for the playoffs and beyond. Of course, the trade isn't a done deal yet. Detroit's management will weigh the cap implications, the impact on team chemistry, and the potential fit for St. Brown in Baltimore's system. But if this happens, it's going to be one of those moves that fans will remember for years. A bold, aggressive play that could define the Ravens' season and set them up for a Super Bowl push. With Lamar's dual-threat ability, the emerging talent of Flowers and Andrews, and a new weapon like St. Brown, Baltimore could be on the cusp of something extraordinary. Looking ahead, the Ravens' coaching staff will need to incorporate St. Brown into their game plans seamlessly. His skill set complements Lamar's play style perfectly, especially considering his ability to create separation in the slot and make those tough contested catches. It also relieves some pressure off other targets like Andrews, who's been having a solid season but could benefit from a co-star that defenses have to respect just as much. This kind of offensive upgrade could also open up the run game, as defenses are forced to respect the passing attack, creating more opportunities for J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards to exploit the gaps. But beyond just the X's and O's, this trade signals a shift in the Ravens' approach, a willingness to be aggressive and push their chips in for a shot at the Lombardi. It's reminiscent of the great NFL teams that aren't afraid to make bold moves at the deadline, showing they're serious about contending now rather than waiting for years down the line. The Ravens have always been a team that builds through smart drafting and strategic signings, but sometimes a blockbuster trade is what it takes to push them over the edge. So, Ravens fans, keep your eyes peeled, because if this deal goes down, it's going to be one of the most exciting developments of the season. Amon-Ra St. Brown in Baltimore, paired with Lamar Jackson, could turn this team into an unstoppable aerial juggernaut. It's the kind of move that could make M&T Bank Stadium shake. That energizes the fan base, and that takes the Ravens from good to great in the blink of an eye. We've seen flashes of brilliance this season, but with a move like this, the sky's the limit. And now, Baltimore Ravens fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential blockbuster? Are you excited about the possibility of St. Brown wearing purple and black? Do you believe he can be the missing piece to bring another Super Bowl to Baltimore? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Ravens. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Baltimore Ravens news. Let's keep this passion alive, and as always, go Ravens.